Hey there, and welcome back for part 2 of our Jasper Johns project. Now, I already pre-recorded a time-lapse video, which you saw. Unfortunately, the time-lapse went really fast. I was recording it on my iPad and not my phone, and my phone I can actually kind of adjust how quickly the time-lapse is. So I do apologize that it was really quick, but you can clearly see in the video, all I did was take 3 to 4 different letters. I actually did 3 in my example here. And I really just started with one big letter. I started with my B, I rotated my paper, I drew my I, and then I rotated my paper again and drew my R. So I didn't draw them all in the same direction, which is good. You don't want to draw them all in the same direction. You want some different directions or different orientations, because that will help to really make it more abstract. So remember, even though Jasper Johns used a lot of symbolism, he also worked with abstract expressionism before that. And so to really get the idea of using symbols but making them almost unrecognizable, even though they're things that we see all the time like letters, ultimately makes it more interesting, and it's going to make your piece more abstract, right? So I've rotated my paper, and I've actually added in a few circles as well, because initially that's what Jasper Johns had did, and it makes it look a little bit more interesting. We get a little bit more intersection with lines as well. So what we're going to do is you are going to choose about 3 to 4 different colors. I wouldn't choose more than that. I would keep it 3 to 4. If you do too much, it's going to look like just you threw rainbow everywhere. And we don't want that. We want to make sure that we're using colors and color schemes that work really well together. So we went over color schemes before, and I'm actually going to do a triadic color scheme. So I'm going to be working with red and yellow and blue, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to color all of the small parts. So any area or shape, I'm going to color in. And as soon as it intersects, I'm going to color it a different color. Okay, now there's lots of ways that you can color this, and I do want you to practice some shading. So keep in mind, I'm going to do it right here. I can shade things by going really dark and pushing down on my colored pencil in one area, and then taking pressure off as I get more towards the center of my shape, right? So I'm creating those different values. I have it really dark, and then it's getting lighter as I'm going through. So I want you to practice that. Remember that skill that we practiced a long time ago in the semester. It's all about creating pressure to get those different values, right? So if I push down really hard on my pencil, I'm gonna get that really deep red. And if I take pressure off of my pencil, I'm gonna get this lighter red, okay? And what I'm gonna do next is, because I colored this section red, I'm gonna choose a different color for the sections on either side. So I'm gonna go with my yellow, or actually it's called mango. Mango, sounds delicious. But I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna kind of lightly color to start. Over here. I'm gonna make sure that I don't go in this section or this shape, right? I wanna stay inside my lines, because every individual shape is going to get its own color. So I'm going through and just really giving a nice light coloring to that area. And then I'm going to go a little bit darker on the outside edges to give that nice shading to it. Gonna add those values in and just kind of make it look more dimensional, right? Give it more dimension. So make it look more interesting. When you do colors, or when you're coloring, I should say, if you do just all one value of the color, right? Like if I did everything this same value, that same brightness, all of the shapes would really just blend into each other. And when you start creating different values, like the difference between this really dark yellow and this lighter yellow, it allows your eye to kind of see more and to move around the artwork, which is essentially what we want, right? When somebody views our artwork, we don't want them to just look at one direction or one piece of the artwork. We want their eye to kind of float around the artwork, to kind of circle in all of the different things that we see. And so creating value is a great way to get your viewer's eye moving across your artwork. So remember to get those darker values, I'm just pushing down on my colored pencil. And as soon as I want to lighten up those values, I'm just going to take pressure off of my pencil. And if you want really, really light values, you can even do a nice little technique where you're holding the very edge or the end of the pencil and then just kind of lightly gliding the pencil across the paper. Notice I have my hand out like this, right? It's kind of a little bit more flat and to the side, and I'm just kind of letting the pencil glide across the paper, which is not putting down any pressure. So it's giving a very small amount of color to the paper. Okay, so because I did yellow on this side and red, I need to make sure I do blue on this side, right? So that this side can be yellow again. It's got to be different. We want to make sure they're different colors for each section. And I'm just going to continue going through and coloring all of the different sections until my artwork is complete. And I may even want to go in and kind of darken the outside edges of some of the areas. I can do that here. Kind of make them stand out a little bit more. But essentially, you're going to be using a couple different techniques to complete your artwork. So this is what we are working on today. And this is how you get started on coloring your Jasper Johns piece of artwork.